Hi everyone, this is your Young People's Love Tap video. I'm not that smart. For starters, that's a heartbreaking statement. I don't like to hear that, and it's extremely common. It's not only common in young people, it's common in middle-aged people, and it's even somewhat common, sadly, in old people. So because you're young and you have your whole life ahead of you, let's get this handled. First of all, why are you thinking that you're not that smart? Is it because of academics? Is it because of grades or your test scores? If that's the case, then you want to look at, are you prepared for tests and exams? Are you doing the best job you can? And if you are doing the best job you can, then it might be because you don't think, your mind doesn't work the same way as the person who made up the test. There are books written about the fact that your score on a test or an exam is simply a reflection of how much you think like the person who made up the questions. So it's very important that you get ahead of this while you're young, okay? Because I can almost assuredly promise you that you are smart. I just would lay money on it. And with the self-fulfilling prophecy, which I have a whole video on that, it's important that you start thinking of yourself as smart and an intelligent person. The other factor that shows up in this topic is that young people, everybody learns differently. Some people are visual learners. Some people learn by doing, they're kinetic. There's all different ways that people learn. We don't all learn the same. And unfortunately, most young people are in a setup for academics or education that's not going to be varied to how they learn. So I want you to start to think about the fact that, why did you make that up about yourself? Why are you saying that you're not smart? And I want you to stop saying that you're not smart, because it's not helpful. And I'm sure you are smart. And now, if it's because you haven't been doing your due diligence, you haven't been doing the homework or the schoolwork or studying, then that's something you can go to work on. But don't be saying that you're not smart when you didn't even try. If you didn't try, that your grades are not a reflection of how smart you are. They might be a reflection of, you didn't really work that hard. But anyway, so we're going to get this handled by saying, number one, stop telling yourself you're not smart. Just stop it. It's not empowering. It's probably, I'm like 98% sure it's probably not true. You might want to look at how you learn differently and whatnot, but please stop saying that to yourself or to other people. Now let's dive into the tips. Number one, I mentioned the self-fulfilling prophecy. It is extremely important you understand that, like for your whole life. And you can look at that video, but the bottom line is what you think and what you say about you and your life will give you your life, and is important. So you need to understand that concept. Number two, really recognizing that your exam score or your test score or your grades could simply be a reflection of how well you take tests, how well you think like the person who made up the exam. That's a whole different story. That is not then a reflection of you. But we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the fact that there's a certain way of thinking for someone who makes up a test, and there's a certain way of thinking for someone who does well on that test. It's a whole new concept that I hope you will give more than a little thought to. The next thing is, if you're thinking that you're not smart, ask for help. Start talking to people. I'm sure probably people will say, oh, why would you even think that? Look at what you do here and look at what you do there. Start talking about it. That will help you open things up. The next thing I recommend in this little tip section is start to figure out how you learn. I happen to be a visual learner, and I like doing things. It helps me learn. I take notes. That helps me learn. So try to figure out what your learning style is, because when you figure out how you learn best, then you can go to work on trying to incorporate your learning style with the setting that you're in. And maybe you could say to a teacher or a professor, I really work well when I get to write a paper. Is there any way I could write a paper, or I could do this? This is my learning style. Is there any way? What does it hurt to ask? The worst they can say is, no, we're not doing that. So what? At least you ask, okay? The next thing you want to make sure you do is rule out anything that could impede your learning abilities. That might include something like needing glasses or having dyslexia. There's a number of things that sometimes interrupt people's ability to learn and makes them feel like they're not smart when it has nothing to do with their smarts or IQ. Another tip is to go to work on yourself, because the better you feel about yourself, you're going to start letting things go that aren't true. I'm sure it's not true that you're not smart. The fact that you're thinking it doesn't make it true. I would also suggest to add empowering attitudes and beliefs, and I have a whole video on that, because we want you to have an empowered life. I want you to be happy. I want you to not have a life filled with worry and negativity and the things that just aren't going to make you happy, because you're young. So why not be happy? I hope this has been helpful. Let me know what I can do to help you have a better life. Take care.